Well, greetings. My name is Miss Hall, and I'm your Educational Technology Specialist coming to you live from the Midtown Media Center. This is the first of 2 Lunch and Learn series episodes today. We're going to be talking about Google Workspace for Education, some tips and tricks. So I am Jennifer Hall, Educational Technology Specialist at Sports Midtown, as well as a number of other schools here in the district. So I'm going to share some of my favorite tips and tricks for using Google Education apps and tools. There's so many different apps and tools. We only have just a few minutes today. So I'm going to be focusing on some tips for organizing your Drive and Google Keep. So first things first, let's talk about Google Drive. So in order to get really organized with Google Drive, my tip for that would be that there is what is called grid view as well as list view. If you didn't know that you can actually change the look and feel of your Drive, you can do that by going in the upper right-hand corner. You can change it. So from list view, some people prefer it, others prefer grid view. So up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that you can change it to see all of your files. The benefit of doing that is you can see what was most recently modified. So you can see by date what it is. So sometimes you're like, well, where's that file from 2010? You can go back and look for it there. If you want to go grid view, it's a more visual way to look at your, some people prefer it. It's easier for you to see what's in your Drive, and you'll see that I've kind of organized mine with a couple of things like emojis and color coding, and I'm going to talk about that. So you can find things in your Drive. A lot of people go, well, where did it go? My teacher shared something. Where is it? On the left-hand side, you'll see you have what's called My Drive versus Shared Drives. Shared drives and shared with you are 2 different things. Shared drives are if you had an organized file folder that was created as a team, but shared with me is anything that might have been added to you, shared to you through Google Classroom that wasn't assigned directly to you. Someone said, hey, check out this document. It's going to be there. The main place you're going to want to be is in that My Drive section, but you can search for things. You can even star them. If it's a document you need to have access to readily, you can click on it and star it. So a couple of things you can do is you can right click and color code your folders. Color coding your folders means that you can maybe do it by class colors. For, I don't know, for you all that came from Inman, now Howard, you know that you had colors for your classes. It might be easier for you to color code so that you can recognize science versus social studies versus ELA or other classes. You can also put an asterisk at the front of a folder or file title, and that will list it at the top. Instead of using numbers, you can do that, and it will list it at the top of your folder or Drive list. You can also add emojis to it. I like to do that because then it just kind of makes it more visually interesting and it stands out. So any of my recordings or anything that have to do with video, I have that clapper icon on it. You can also star things by right-clicking on it, and then if you filter by starred, you can find all of those important documents. So what that looks like in my Drive is you can see I've got lots of color coding. I've got lots of asterisks to find those important Drive files that I use all the time, such as recordings or anything from this year or last year for resources, and then also color coding them so that they stand out. So it just makes it a lot easier to find things in your Drive. So another thing is that you can select any of your files and you can choose how you share it, but that's also where you can add that star. So if I add that star to it, I'll be able to find it by filtering on the left-hand side for starred items. So if it's a report you're working on, project resource, or something that you need to get back to very easily. So a lot of you know that you can create new files in your Drive by clicking on new and choosing, do you need a doc, sheet, slides, or forms? But how many of you knew that you could actually just in your browser window type docs.new and get a brand new document? Or type slides.new and get a brand new Google slide presentation, or sheets.new does the same thing. So you can actually go in your browser bar, type that in, docs.new, slides.new, or sheets.new. That's magical, so you don't have to go back to your Drive. So if you just want to take notes really quickly on something, you can do that. But then once you do that, you might need to know, how do I put it in an organized way? So you can actually move any document. In the upper toolbar here, you can see that there's an option for moving anything. When you click on that folder icon, you can say, hey, it's not in the right spot. I need to move it to another folder. Because I know I'll start files and I'm like, I meant to put it in my resources file. I meant to put it in for this year versus I'm working on a project for a particular school. I want to make sure I put it in the folder for Midtown or Howard or H.J. Russell. So in the upper top of your file that you're working in, whether it's slides or docs or sheets, you can click on that icon and you can say move it and put it in the right place. So let's talk about Google Keep. I'm just curious if you've used Google Keep. If you haven't, it's digital sticky notes. It's one of my absolute favorite tools that Google has. And a lot of people don't use it, but it's a great way for you to get organized. So how Google Keep works is you can actually create digital sticky notes. And what the digital sticky notes allow you to do, you can actually set reminders. So if you're actually working on a project with a team, you can actually set a reminder, I must complete my assignment to turn in something. You can actually share your notes with your teammates or other students, which is pretty cool. So if you're working on a team project, it's a great way to do notes. You can actually change the note color. So again, if you're like me, I like to color code things based on action items versus connected to your class. You can add pictures. So I'm prone to taking pictures. How many of you have taken pictures of something, you're supposed to remember it, and you're like, I have no idea why I took that picture. I just took it and there's no note to go with it. So you can actually take a picture in Google Keep and actually upload notes to it to say why you took that particular photo for that reminder. You can add labels so you can have your things organized by whether it's schoolwork, projects, or anything like that. You can do it by subject areas as well. You can actually, on the mobile app, use drawing, so you can annotate and draw there, and you can even do checkboxes. So I love the fact that I can do checkboxes. So I make a list of all of the things that I might have to do in a week and then check it off. And then I can keep track of what I'm doing. And if you have a really long note, you can actually then copy it into Google Docs. If you use the app, you can do voice notes, which means if I do a voice note and I can record what's going on in class or a reminder, it will actually record it and transcribe it. So you get the text as well. And you can even take a picture of an image and it will pull the text out of it, which is pretty cool. So here's just a snapshot from my Google Keep. I have all of these different labels so I can sort by the different notes that I have. And I use it to keep track of things like upcoming video ideas or tech tips that I'm going to share with teachers or things that I need to complete. So if you haven't tried Google Keep, you definitely need to check it out. It is a great tool to keep you organized. And the mobile app is great because you can use it for your work, your school account. You can also toggle to, if you have a personal Gmail, Google Keep is in your Gmail, so you can use it there as well. So a couple of ways that you as students might want to use it for to-do lists to keep track of things. I don't know about you, but I always have a lot of things going on, and I'm like, all right, what are all the things I need to be doing? If you're working on a project with your classmates, you can do checklists that way as well. You can keep up with your weekly tasks. If you got so many different classes, you can do a different note for each class. It's great for you to pull research or articles. If you just find a cool article on something, you can add it to your Google Keep. Great for team planning. I love that you can do the voice notes and even setting that reminder of when you need to accomplish a task. You can set that reminder to alert you of that. If you are brand new to Google Keep and you haven't played around with it, I'm going to put a link in this tutorial, the description of this video. There's actually a tutorial that explains all of the ways you can use Google Keep. So if you have any questions or comments or ideas of things that you'd like to learn more about, or there's a tool or something you need to know more about, please put those in the comments and let me know. But this was just a session one of a couple of tips and tricks for using Google Drive and Docs as well as Google Keep. Thanks for watching.